hello, good morning. Thank you so much for joining. It is, oh my gosh, it's April 26, 2026. I'm Eric Murphy. This is Skeptic Generation, and we need to talk. Joining me today is an old friend, Ethan Michael. Ethan, how's it going, buddy?
It's going good, man. Thanks for inviting me on.
I'm so happy to have you on. We've talked for a while. I know that I've been wanting to, we've been talking for a couple of months, and I'm happy to have you here. So what have you been up to? It's been forever.
Well, it has been a while. I've pretty much taking a break from content. The good news is this is like the first start. This show right now is the start of me coming back in and starting stuff on my channel again and creating new content. I have a few guests lined up. One who has never done YouTube before, met him through Facebook, bringing him on as a guest. Another topic with Dr. Daryl Ray, and a few other things lined up. I went through a pretty bad bout of depression for a while.
Yeah.
And I will admit this publicly, for the first time, I was so depressed, I turned to alcohol and had a stint of being an alcoholic and was hospitalized twice. So now I'm good. I'm clean, I'm healthy, do not like the thought of alcohol. I can go to a bar now and, be around it. I'll even buy someone a drink. It doesn't faze me. So I am mentally in a very good place.
I'm really glad. Yeah, I mean, self-medication's a thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got through it. No, it's easy
Sorry,
to be.
I didn't mean to dump something heavy on you.
No, that's okay. It's easy to be depressed and anxious nowadays, and I know that you've been going through a lot personally, and I'm grateful that you're on this side of things. I'm glad you're still here.
Thanks, man. Me too.
So yeah. Speaking of,
really, to the audience, I gotta apologize. I really gotta finish setting up my studio, so there is a boring background right now. Don't worry, it will be fixed soon. I don't like it, and the lighting's not ideal. I gotta get those blackout curtains, so the quality will improve soon.
yeah, it's a good thing you're handsome. It's all right. Nobody's paying attention to the background. You're good.
Okay looking. I'm not a bad looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
At least I don't look my age, though, which is
No.
nice.
No, you don't. So I know that today we were talking about what we wanted to do this episode, and
Right.
Both you and I have ADHD, and we're shooting ideas at each other, and it's like, oh my god, we can talk about this and this and this and the million things and this, and we're bouncing so much stuff back and forth that we're just like, let's just make the episode that.
Yeah. ADHD episode.
Yeah. So, are we going to be fully on topic the entire time? No.
No.
Is it going to be better for it? Yes. So we are going to dive in, and I think we're going to start. Ethan, I know you have the definition pulled up. So before we do that, I'm just going to put the phone number out there. That way we can get that going. We do have a call screener who is so kind as to get all of that going, and to take your calls. Kelly, thank you. The phone number is 412-SKEPGEN. That's 412-753-7436. Or you can go to tiny.cc/SKEPGEN. That's tiny.cc/SKEPGEN. One other thing before we get started. Hey, Kristen. Happy birthday!
Best name ever.
We love
Thank
you.
you so much for what you do for the community and what you do for me, and me constantly annoying you with questions and you being so patient and always educating me.
Yeah.
So thank you for everything you do. Best name.
Kristen, you've been a true and loyal friend through thick and thin for years. I'm so grateful that I get that. Yeah. So
I love her to death.
same.
And I tell her that. I genuinely love that woman.
Yeah, me too. Oh my goodness. Yeah, she's seen me in my darkest places for sure.
She's been there for me at my darkest.
It's funny, the how small the world can be, because she's in Sweden, and from across the world, we build these relationships, and it's just it's amazing.
when I
Yeah.
tell people one of my best friend lives in Sweden, they're like, how do you have a best friend in Sweden? I'm like, I do.
Yeah.
But,
It's 2026.
right?
Okay. So, do you wanna give us the definition for ADHD?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm going to read it verbatim off the internet. And
Okay.
then I have an idea after that. ADHD, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, is a common neurodevelopmental disorder marked by persistent patterns of inattention, hyperactivity, impulsive impulsivity that interfere with daily functioning. Typically diagnosed in childhood, it often persists into adulthood, effectively executive functions like organization, focus, emotional regulation. I, for one, am unmedicated. I am one of the unfortunate ones where stimulants do not work for me. Like if I take Adderall or caffeine, I just get like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I, no medicines work for me. So I'm just kind of stuck with ADHD.
Oh my
What about
god.
you?
So I didn't get diagnosed until I was 30.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just thought I was a lazy piece of shit.
Oh,
I was pretty. I mean, like I was one of the. I was in gifted programs and stuff in school, and I'm sure you've heard the, you're not living up to your potential, kind of stuff.
yeah.
But when I was diagnosed at 30, I was put on eventually Vyvanse
Oh, okay.
because Adderall didn't work. But when I did that, it was life changing for me.
That's amazing.
I had such a hard time dialing in on anything, and I thought that I was just a personality flaw of mine, and I started dialing in on projects within a month and a half of getting on medication for my ADHD.
Mm,
I started talk heathen.
nice.
It was being able to focus in and go, okay, let's see this through from beginning to end. In fact, that entire time of moving through the atheist community of Austin and the growth of the shows would never have happened if I hadn't been diagnosed and put on a medication like that. So it's huge. It's
Well, yeah, I'm
huge.
glad it helped.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted us both to do is, if you don't mind, you start list one thing that your ADHD is good for, like a trait you have, and then list one negative of it that impacts you.
Ooh. Okay. So I think that I don't know if it's any other kind of neurodivergence or if it is my ADHD, but when I get into things, I really get into them. I don't kind of get into anything. It becomes my life. It's all I can think about. It's all I dedicate myself to. I hyper focus on something, and I just do it. So my ADHD has enabled me to learn so many hobbies. I think I was fresh off of learning blacksmithing when you and I met. You know, but leatherworking and a million types of games and just, yeah, you name the hobby, and I've probably, I probably have a box with stuff in it at some point. And I'm guessing you feel the same way.
Yeah, the same thing.
Yeah.
I am into a million different random things, and I also obsess over things. Once I fixate on it, my brain thinks of nothing else but that one thing,
Yep.
and it's just I can't stop.
Yep.
But the negative, I'm going to list two negatives
Hmm.
and some commentary. So one thing that bothers me a little bit is when people will be like, "Oh, everyone's a little ADHD." And it's like, no, that's a little bothersome because
Yeah.
I feel like it's an undermining statement, especially because of the struggles we deal with. My two examples will be like, one is reading. Reading is very hard for me. I have to do audiobooks
Yep.
because when I read, I will have to literally read the same page probably 10 times before I get to the next page because my brain just, keeps going elsewhere, keeps going elsewhere. I can't get it to focus.
Yeah.
And then the other one, which is, I think, more goofy and funny, but is debilitating, is sex. I could be having the best sex of my life. And then all of a sudden,
Fucking
in
squirrel.
my head, oh, crap. Did I send that email earlier? Shit, I didn't respond to my brother's text message. And then, oh my God, you're gone.
Yeah.
You're out of the moment. Your brain's going everywhere else.
Yeah.
And you're desperately trying to like focus
Yeah.
in on what's happening. And you can't get back to it. You're just like everywhere. Have you ever experienced that?
Oh,
that's too personal a question.
No, that's okay. I feel like my best relationships have been with other people who are different flavors of neurodivergent, and who roll with it. I think I've been lucky enough to be able to, but no, that's absolutely a thing. Another downside is if I'm not hyperfixated on a thing, doing a thing is impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like it's overwhelming. It's like you can't do it. And people are like, oh, hey, just read this or just do this. It's like, I can't. There's a term for it. Do you know the term?
Executive dysfunction?
There we go.
Yep. Yeah, and it's not that you don't want it, like you want to, and right. and you'll punish yourself. I don't know if you do the same, but I will sit down at a computer knowing that I have to do work, and then just sit in a state of paused anxiety for hours.
Yes. 5 more minutes. Okay, 5 more minutes. I'll do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 more minute. I'm gonna do it 1 more minute.
And you might not be doing like when that happens to me, I'm not actually doing anything during those 5 minutes. I'm just feeling dread.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Your heart's racing and your gut, you're just like, and it could be literally the simplest task to which most people will be like, okay, you're being a baby, just do it. But to us, it's like this overwhelming, like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like we physically can't do it.
Yeah.
No matter how simple it may be.
Yeah. So it's been a bit of a blessing and a curse with the work that I do for a day job. I do video editing for my buddy Drew. And it is. And it's funny, that we usually do videos that I get really into, so I hyper focus on it, and there's nothing else I want to do. I don't want to go do any other hobby. I just want to do that thing, but like that also means that, I can have 4 days, and for 2 days I'm just unable to dial in. But when I do, and I'm just like, oh, I don't even sleep. I'll work through the night into the next day until it's done.
It has to be done.
Yeah.
I used to do that with my show on my channel, The Perspective. It was, for those that don't know, it was a call-in show, but it wasn't just about religion. People could call in about, ghosts, Bigfoot, Mothman, the paranormal, psychics. Like we talked about everything and anything. And wow, my ADHD just kicked in, and I don't know the point of where I was going.
No, that's okay.
Another debilitating side effect of ADHD.
Yeah, you just lose it. To me, it is a compliment in that you're in the moment. You are paying attention, you're listening, you're wanting to follow the conversation where it's going instead of waiting your turn. I can't wait my turn to talk, because if I do, I can't pay attention to what's being said at all. I can't even pretend that I am. It's just...
Well, I've seen This reminds me of like Facebook posts I've seen where like if people post and say, you know, if someone's telling a story and opening up to you, don't talk about yourself then. And it's like that's not true because people with ADHD, that's how we empathize. We share our experience back to you.
Is that an
And
ADHD thing?
yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, that's how we empathize and engage
I thought
because people get offended and they accuse us of
about
making
me.
the conversation about us. But no, we're just trying to show them we
Huh.
empathize with them. So, you know, for people who don't have ADHD,
I
please don't be offended if someone shares a similar story with you. That is our way of connecting with you. We're not trying to make it about us.
okay. Sorry, I'm taking a second there. I thought everybody does that, and I was just insufferable for other reasons.
Oh, no, no. Yeah, that is a trait.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, or you know, like if we impulsively interject and be like, "Oh, you know, it's not like we're trying to be rude or speak over you or cut you off." I've gotten better. Like I'll start and then I'll go, "Oh my God, I'm sorry," and then I'll back up. You know, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I will generally say it's we're not trying to be rude
No.
by any means. It's just like the thought pops in our head, and without thinking, our mouth just opens. And it takes us a second to be like, well, wait, we got to stop. So, you know, it's if you're willing, try and be patient with people like us. You know, we don't have ill intentions. It just our brains work differently.
Yeah. We're trying. We really are trying. Um, and there are some things that I think I've been able to figure out growing up and you know over the last 8 years since I've been diagnosed. I'm 38 now, by the way. You're older.
I'm not saying my age, but I'm older than you.
I know. I've figured out how to weaponize my ADHD. I can't do it every time, but when I do, it's amazing. When that
Agreed.
executive,
Agreed.
yeah, when that executive dysfunction hits and you're unable to do X, if you're able to turn and do Y instead, you're still not doing X, but you were able to finally do all your laundry and the dishes and clean up and vacuum and clean out the cat box and you know, like so it's I when you're able to weaponize that it's good.
I agree.
But yeah, so
ADHD can be a superpower in some ways,
it can
but
be.
debilitating in other ways.
Yeah, I think that I came into the whole medication thing like knowing that I needed to be medicated for depression, but also feeling like meds are bad, and so I did not want to take anything that I did not absolutely have to,
That's understandable.
and it did take time for me to be okay with that because I'm well, I know you. It's the same for you that, it's easy to be charitable and kind when it comes to other people, but when it comes to yourself, well, everybody else can get that, but not me.
Yep.
It's understandable for everybody else, but I'm a unique piece of shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. A very low self worth.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, s-
my girlfriend was just telling me the other day, like how I constantly give myself and go out of my way for everyone and like talk them up and blow them up. But when it comes to my own self worth and my time, I give myself nothing.
yeah.
But another point I wanted to bring up, in case people don't know this, sometimes ADHD overlaps with autism and it also overlaps with bipolar 2. And there are plenty of psychiatrists who misdiagnose ADHD and give you a bipolar 2 diagnosis, and vice versa. Uh, Now, me, I hit the lottery of mental health illnesses. I have ADHD, panic disorder, bipolar 2, PTSD, borderline personality disorder.
Man.
So I am, and borderline
Yahtzee. Yeah.
personality disorder is not to be confused with dissociative identity disorder. But some good news, there is a newer procedure they are now doing, which can treat anxiety and depression. It is a 2-day stay at a hospital. They do 2 injections on either side of your neck into your spine and specific nerves, and it resets your nervous system. And my
Really?
friend, yes, my friend had it done. Insurance doesn't cover it. As of right now, I only know of it being done in Illinois. Um, it's $2,200, but just talking to her,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm talking to a whole new person. She said instantaneously, once it was done, her anxiety was just back to a normal person anxiety. Her focus was better. Her depression was better. There's a huge amount of stuff it helps. It also helps with PTSD. Um, so yeah, if anyone's interested, I'm not going to say it on the air, but feel free to message me on Facebook. I'll share the link with you. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice.
Yeah,
I will
that
just share the information I was given.
that sounds scary to me. But then again, a lot of things do. So don't.
I'm going to do it. I'm finding a way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
dedicated
Yeah. Let me
because
know.
the relief for the PTSD specifically and the anxiety would be amazing.
Yeah. The anxiety I'm unmedicated for. I can't. So yeah, I feel that. Yeah. Let me know. Let me know how that goes.
Yeah.
Okay. So when the thing that led us into wanting to talk about ADHD is we had a million topics.
Well, I got a few roads we can go
Okay.
down, but
What's
if
up?
you have one, I'll let you go first.
No, no, go for it. People hear from me every week.
Okay, cool. So I brought up how sex can be affected by ADHD.
Mhm.
This can open a rabbit hole of areas we can go down. For instance, what I was saying earlier, how you can be in the moment and then all of a sudden you're elsewhere. And sorry if this is TMI, but for a guy, you know, once your mind is elsewhere, you're not able to necessarily continue performing
Yeah.
as you'd like. Is that okay to talk
Yeah.
about that,
Yeah, absolutely.
Eric? Are we open?
Bro, yeah, absolutely. So,
Okay.
so,
So
so, before we go into the sex thing, there was one thing that you said that I wanted to throw in
Sure.
and reinforce. And when I remember it, I will interject at probably the least opportune time, when we're in the middle of something else, and then I'll totally derail us. So please go ahead. Let's talk about sex.
Yeah, it turns in. It's just once you're out of that moment, it stops working, and you're kind of screwed. And it's so embarrassing, and it's so disappointing. And I've had, I feel bad. I've had women be like, "Oh, is it me? Is there something wrong with me?" And I'm like, "No, no, no. It's my brain. This is what happens." And I feel terrible when I've made women feel bad and they think it's their fault. And I try to reassure them, no, this is just my brain. It's how it works.
Yeah.
One moment I'm enjoying it, next moment I'm thinking about a turkey sandwich I want.
And turkey
And
sandwiches aren't known for being sexy.
no,
So it's understandable.
yeah. So
Yeah. That so for me that's why I don't take anxiety medications. had a big impact. And then testosterone wound up actually being another one for me.
Sorry, you are taking testosterone?
I am. I get a shot in the butt every week, and I'm too scared to do it myself. So I go to my local doctor's office. They are all the sweetest human beings in the world. And I go in once a week, and I pull down my pants, and they give me a shot in the butt. And
Nice.
yeah.
I'll actually be starting testosterone soon.
Yeah?
Because at my age, our testosterone is supposed to be between 400 and 600, and I am below 100. So, unfortunately, I couldn't start it right away because, as I said earlier, I struggled with alcoholism.
Oh,
So they
yeah,
have
that's
to wait
right.
till my liver is fully recovered.
Yeah.
It's continues to improve. Doctor said, like, I'm safe, I'm good, my liver's recovering.
Good.
We just have to wait till it gets back to the baseline normal levels, and then I will start the testosterone injections.
So when I seriously, the T and the ADHD happened pretty quickly in succession with each other when I was 30, and huge difference. Oh my goodness. When I tested, I think I was at like 128.
Oh, okay. That's low.
Yeah.
Yeah, very low.
The one thing to say is if you do get on testosterone, this is for anybody watching, it does increase your likelihood for a couple of medical issues. One of them is your body tends to produce more blood, and that means that you're going to need to. Well, I have to donate blood every once in a while.
Wait, really? I didn't know that.
Yep, hematocrit level goes up,
Interesting.
and
Wow.
and if you've got all this blood in your system and it's more than your body wants, then your blood pressure stays high, and it also is
Oh,
part of what contributes to the health risks for your heart.
wow.
It also increases the likelihood of your prostate cancer, and
Didn't know
so.
that either. That's a little scary.
So if you are taking testosterone, just make sure that you are getting regular screenings. Go in and they can check your PSA. That's the prostate specific androgens, and they can tell. And so getting that done, every 6 months or so, will do really, really well. I've been doing this for 8 years. I've been doing this under the supervision of a doctor, and we have
What are
been.
your levels at now, if you don't mind my asking?
PSA? I'm no. I have no. My T levels?
Yeah, yeah.
600-700.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, not a doctor. I'm only sharing information that was shared with me. Because, like, for instance, being so low in testosterone, my libido is just like gone.
Yep.
So I was talking to a nurse friend that I know, and their boyfriend is on testosterone, and they actually get their levels between 12 and 1500. Now, everything I read said that that's very bad.
Yeah, that's really high.
However, this person says that actually, historically, that men's testosterone was that much higher. And even this person's father is at 1500 in his 60s and is in perfect health. So, again, not giving medical advice. I'm
Yeah.
only sharing something I was told.
I was told that the average for men should be around 700, and
Right.
I can tell the difference if it's too high, and but it is. You'll see.
I can't wait to start it because I
pretty
want
good.
my libido back really bad.
It will come with a vengeance.
I hope so. I miss it.
Yeah, I understand that. We actually have a caller who wants to join in and talk with us.
Oh, sure.
Let's take Connor in Texas.
Hey, Connor.
Connor?
Hey, Eric.
Hey!
I can hear you.
Hey, Connor.
Yeah. So you are talking about ADHD. I've had it since I was 3. We can turn this into ADHD Anonymous.
Yeah.
Bad joke.
You're Connor. We all go, hi, Connor. Yeah. Except it's not. I guess the difference there would be that it's not like an addiction or a thing that we're battling as much as learning a thing that's kind of intrinsic to our own and to ourselves.
And support group's a support group.
Yeah. I've come to love it about myself now that I know what it is and that there are things to do. I thought that I don't know about you, Connor, but I thought that it was like a personal failing on my part. But learning that it's actually a diagnosis helped a lot. Are you in the same boat? Or wait, you were diagnosed early.
Yeah, but then I was so young that I didn't even know about it. That I didn't remember anything about it until in high school. I was looking at college stuff with my dad, and he picked up this pamphlet at this event that was about people with autism and another one with ADHD, and like he told me that I was diagnosed when I was 3. So like, oh, okay. But I was really calling because this conversation is making me think of some genetic studies on ADHD I've read I've read some abstracts on over the years.
Yeah.
So one of the first things I thought of, what were you about to say?
I was just about to say, like what?
So, like, one of the first things I read about this was like how there's some identifiable genetics in the DNA for that can make someone predisposed to ADHD, and for this has more to do with like the difference of levels between the very early, like descendants of the very early group that originally left Africa, and then the difference in levels with the ones that stayed in Africa. And it's like the level is 10 times more in people that left than the ones that stayed.
Really?
That was like one of the most things. Like, oh yeah, like people like if you have one group that has like 10 times higher levels, then they're just like they're more likely to be like, ooh, what's over there? Next day, ooh, what's over there? Keep going down the beach. Ooh, what's over there?
Are you saying ADHD is what caused migration out of the cradle of civilization?
It's a theory out there.
That's funny.
And also, like the other thing but it also like even ties into like us as a species because like as we keep moving, like we think more, our brains become more active as individuals. Like just keep walking, keep moving, keep going. Ooh, let's go see what's over there. But with ADHD brains, you get more active brain, like you're even more jacked up, like can't focus on anything. Like let's keep on going, people.
I do have to wonder if there is, yeah, like so that's kind of implying that there's a kind of a evolutionary developmental advantage to ADHD. That
Well, there was back then. Before, not so much for the modern day, but there is one thing I'm going to tie in a little bit of like some personal stuff, like that may actually also be like anecdotal evidence of why ADHD was probably good for us as a species way back when. So, like for me, let's start with I haven't had a whole lot of relationships, and like. I really think it'd be difficult for me to like get long-term ones to work. Like the longest one I've had is 6 months before it just, well, that one was also a long distance thing. So who knows how much overlap there is between all of that stuff. But anyway, what I'm thinking is like for my ADHD, I have hard time like staying with like hobbies have always been difficult for me because I can't stay with it. I'll lose interest. So what I'm thinking is, there's got to be some versions of ADHD that it may be a thing with us because way back when to reproduce as a species, you want to get as much genetic diversity as possible. So losing interest and going off to find someone else would have to be probably directly or at least a lot tied into that type of ADHD.
I don't know. I think that implies a few things that I'm not necessarily in agreement with. I think that implies a
Like
social
I say,
structure.
it's only anecdotal. It's
Yeah.
only for me.
Well,
It's only hypothetical.
for me, I think that like the social structure of a monogamous relationship is something that we currently accept as just what has always been. But
Oh, that's
polyamory.
another topic. Sorry.
No, yeah, you got it. Polyamory is and has been a thing in different cultures forever, and so there's not necessarily a need
I
to
mean,
end an existing relationship to move on to another. You know what I mean? I got to say, if you're looking for
well, I
somebody
mean,
and you have
like as like
ADHD,
I meant like as a primitive species before civilization and all that, before what we consider to be like modern civilizational human, where we develop all the cultural stuff around like that. I mean, just purely as a species on a reproductive level is where I was going with that. Like that, where we just get down to the basic drives of everything.
you know, I don't know. I don't know. I think the more I learn about like ancient humans, I don't know if there was ever a time where it was just primitive, you know? I don't know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding, but what's your take, Ethan?
Um, well, my brain wants to go down a million different routes right now. So
Yeah,
I don't
you
know
heard Polly and you're like, ooh.
well, no, I was going to go down the monogamous open poly route. But the other thing I did want to say is there are people who deny ADHD being real or saying it's in our heads. But for those that don't know, it's either an MRI or an fMRI. You can actually see the difference in the brain in the MRI scan of a neurodivergent person versus a neurotypical person. So, this is undeniable
Yeah.
that ADHD is a real thing.
So
Um,
and a big test that I've seen for a lot of people. Now, not everybody, obviously, not for you, Ethan, but for a lot of people, reaction to stimulants is a interesting indicator that usually can help people identify that. I've talked to Gen Xers who were doing coke in the 80s and they tried it and they were just like, this sucks. Nothing happened. Everybody's all, and it's like, oh, honey.
you're okay with talking about drugs on the show?
I fully, I don't expect we're going to be monetized most episodes. I mean,
Okay.
but you could say coke. Yeah.
Can I share an experience?
Sure. I think if we're going to go that route, we just got to say that, it is the opinion of the show that drugs are bad, so don't do them. Okay. Go ahead.
So, I want to be very, very, very clear here. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not giving advice, and I'm not recommending this at all. But the only thing that has ever made a dent in my ADHD has been when I tried MDMA. I remember the first time I tried it, and I was talking to my girlfriend. She's like, "Wow," she's like, "I've never seen you so focused and clear-headed since I've known you." And all I kept saying is like, the noise in my head is gone. It's just, it's gone. And for those that don't know, side note, MDMA is actually been used in trials for both couples counseling and PTSD. The problem is, I think it should be legalized. The problem is, it's dangerous. Like just going out and buying it from people, not responsible. Like there are, drug test kits out there. I've seen people at festivals, get meth bombed or get stuff laced with fentanyl.
That's insane.
You have to be careful. Like it can be deadly. You have to be very responsible. And to be clear, the other thing about MDMA is it's not a treatment. This is not something you can do every day at all. You will burn out your serotonin receptors and damage your brain. This is something that can only be done once in a great, great while.
Yeah,
So,
like
unlike mushrooms, there is no micro dosing you can do to have it help you. But yeah, I've had several other people with ADHD say they have the same effect. It's just the noise is gone and the focus comes just, you're clear, and it's pretty amazing.
That's Connor.
I guess mine's not as bad as that because usually the type of ADHD I got is like, oh, in order to focus, I need a distraction. Yeah, go figure how that works. Like, say, if I'm listening to someone like talk about something, I got to pull out a game on my phone just so I can pay attention to what the person's saying in front of me. I don't get too sleepy and want to pass out.
Okay, so can both of you relate to this? That yes, like if I'm watching a YouTube documentary or something, I need to have like a Rubik's Cube or something going on. Have Slay the Spire up on my computer on the other screen,
or my cell phone.
Right. But if someone calls me or wants to sit down and talk to me, face to face, I need to turn off every radio, TV in the background. If someone's mowing their lawn, outside, I can't focus at all. I get both. Like, I have to turn off all distractions to focus sometimes. But if it is like a documentary or an audiobook, I need to be doing something actively. Do both of you get that too?
Yeah, absolutely. And this also brings up another thing. I don't know, there's a term for this, and I'm blanking on it right now, but a lot of people with ADHD need subtitles on movies. There is oh my God, I can't believe I'm blanking on the term. It's like audio something, where we have trouble understanding the words, so we have to read them out like in our heads as they're saying them. So it drives people nuts because I always want subtitles on.
Yeah,
like I love subtitles.
I actually have more of an issue with subtitles because I get way too focused on subtitles, especially if it's because then I'm like not paying attention to what's going on screen in front of me. It's why I also can't watch a whole lot of foreign movies and TV shows unless they're English dubbed, because then like I'm not paying attention to the rest of what's going on screen. Like I can only follow by reading.
I get that. I think I had that when I watched Avatar. The what was it, Kirk Cameron movie? I wound up reading the subtitles and I didn't see any of the beautiful.
Wait, not Kirk Cameron.
Or not Kirk Cameron. James Cameron.
Kirk Cameron was one of the Jesus guys.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, James Cameron. Titanic director. Yeah. Yeah. No.
Oh, it's called audio processing disorder. That was what I was thinking of. Thank you to the person in the comments who made that. But sorry, continue.
Yeah. Speaking of, did y'all see that the latest Avatar movie from James Cameron got leaked?
No, I haven't. I liked the first one.
No, that's a different Avatar movie that got leaked. It was Avatar: The Last Airbender that got leaked.
Oh my God! Why are there so many Avatar? Okay. They made another Avatar: The Last Airbender movie. They didn't learn their lesson.
Well, no, not the live action. It's the original creators who are making they're doing Aang and the group as adults. So it's more like just it's just a continuation of the original.
That's amazing. Okay, I take it back. Yeah.
I have an ADHD moment.
Now. I'm having it right now. I'm leading us into talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender. Please, what's up, man?
It'll just be a quick tidbit. So right when Connor said English dub, those words, immediately my brain went to Dragon Ball Z because I watched the English dub of Dragon Ball Z. So I got
that's exactly where I originally realized that about myself. I had to avoid watching when Dragon Ball Super came out because I tried going to the Japanese version because I didn't want to wait 2 years for the English. But then I realized I'm not paying attention to the rest of what's going on screen. I can't focus. I'm only 2 minutes in.
Okay, then this makes me even happier because you're really going to appreciate this, Connor. So, the voice of Goku, his name is Sean Schemmel. I interviewed him on my YouTube channel. He is actually a liberal atheist and a very intelligent human being. And the only reason he agreed to do the interview, he said I was the first person to approach him and wanted to talk to him about politics and religion and didn't sit here and want to talk about Goku. And as a result, we exchanged cell phone numbers. We're friends now. We text, we call each other on the phone, we talk. He wants to do a second podcast with me. But yesterday, he came to Chicago for Collecticon. And I let him know I was coming. And he texts me, he goes, dude, he goes, don't wait in line. He goes, don't pay anything. He's like, you're my friend. Walk past it, come right up to me. And I was like, oh my God, Goku's calling me his friend. So I was like, outside, I was acting normal, but inside, I was screaming. So there was like 300 people in line. So I grabbed my nephew and brother, and we just walked right past up. I go, hey, Sean. He turns, looks at me. He's like, Ethan! And he comes and gives me a hug. And I was like, oh my God, I am hugging Goku right now. And then he looks at security and he goes, hey, hold the line, stop. I need to spend some time with my friend. And the line just waited, and he sat there and hung out with me, my nephew, and my brother. You know, he signed their cards. He took pictures with us. He talked. Then he went on a small rant about Christian nationalism and religion in schools and how he wants religion out of schools. Sorry. Yeah. I know I diverted completely, but yesterday was an amazing day.
Dude, I'm about to derail this a little further because there's a coworker I got. He also has ADHD, but he's like a little bit more. He's a little bit more ADHD than I am. And the thing is, when you leave the two of us alone for our ADHDs to bounce off of each other, we go into wild places like within 5 minutes. So like. He just mentioned that someone was whistling, and it was the tune to Miss New Booty, and then I get that song going in my head, and damn, I'm forgetting
booty, rocking everywhere. Booty, booty, booty.
No, I know, but then I'm trying to remember how this went exactly, so I can get to the end of this thing like within 5 minutes. Oh, God damn it, I lost it.
That's okay. So I'm
in the comments. Some people are saying your phone is clipping, Connor. Do you know? Are you on like a headset right now by chance?
I'm actually.
I am using an earbud.
So I'm.
Can you take your earbud out and talk directly into the phone?
Oh yeah,
if we can eliminate the clipping.
Yeah, I'll switch over to speaker real quick.
Yeah, I'm compressing his audio as well. Go ahead.
I turned off the earbud.
Oh, you sound so much better. Why?
There we go. Yes, million times better.
Yeah. Okay.
I completely lost how the conversation went between us, but within 5 minutes, it went straight to me. Somehow SpongeBob got involved in this conversation, and then I was thinking, at the end of the day, I was imagining SpongeBob singing Miss New Booty. I can't remember how it got there, but it did.
No, that's okay. I'm seeing this conversation go in that direction. that feels
we
about right.
derailed everything so quick.
That's all right. I see we do have two more callers. But I did have a thought. I think I remember the thing I wanted to say earlier. We at the beginning we were talking about relationships, I believe, in ADHD. You know what actually worked for me? I've had the best relationships with people who have who are autistic. Like that ADHD autism thing has been very true for me.
Yeah. So
here's the thing with ADHD. I completely forgot I brought that up.
My psychiatrist, my therapist, and my girlfriend, they think I am on the spectrum. But I'm not going to go get tested. Honestly, for me, if I have it, I have it. If I don't, I don't. Personally, it's not going to change anything for me. So I'm not going to go get tested.
I think so long as RFK is in office, is where he's at, and the current administration's where they're at, I wouldn't want to be put on any kind of lists that they're tracking anyway.
Don't you know vaccines cause autism? Kidding, obviously kidding.
Am I the unfortunate one for having parents that did their due diligence and had me tested when I was 8?
Yeah, I am jealous. I am jealous, but I'm glad that you got the support you needed, at that time, because man, I am jealous.
Hold on, it's still Texas, so like it's still iffy on the whole support thing down here.
All right, fair enough. Well, yeah. Connor, take care of yourself. Thank you for calling.
You too.
All right. Do you want to jump right into the next caller, or do you want to?
Sure, whatever you want to do.
Sure.
There's only one thing I want to touch base on by the end of the show.
Okay.
We don't have to do it right now. So continue with the caller.
All right, let's talk to Steven in Pennsylvania. Steven, you're live on the show.
Hey,
Hi,
Steven.
guys. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for calling in. You wanted to talk about proper medical care? What's on your mind?
Well, and you also just said something about not getting tested for different things, because if you have it, you have it. If you don't, you don't. It's a quality of life situation. So if you feel like because I take too many pills as it is. And so with certain things as they come up, I will say to my medical professional, you know what? That's not really bothering me. So let's just not do another pill. On the other hand, if it's impacting your life, you really should have it checked out. But the important thing is to have an open and honest discussion with your medical professional. And also, as I'm listening to you throw numbers around for levels of testosterone and whatnot, everybody is different even still. So, my numbers may be fine at a certain level versus yours. And I'll give you a couple of stupid examples. I have a paradoxical relationship with caffeine. Everybody else gets wired on it. I go to sleep.
Yep.
And that's a juvenile reaction, and I'm definitely not juvenile. When they adjust my blood pressure medication, my libido goes through the ceiling, and that's not necessarily what I'm expecting at my age, but it's not expected. That's also sort of a weird response.
Well, go ahead. Is your blood pressure medication a blood thinner?
No.
Oh, interesting. Because I know that Viagra was originally supposed to be a blood pressure medication.
I can't take Viagra.
Okay.
So that's not that I need to. Thank you very much. But
so you don't need to brag, Stephen.
But I don't. But I can't take it either. There's a lot of things I can't take.
Doctors prescribe Viagra because it is very.
Hold on, you both are talking at the same time.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Stephen. I apologize. You go ahead.
No, it's fine, Ethan.
All right.
Now, neither one of us is speaking.
All right.
I'll let you go ahead.
No, Stephen, you're the guest. You, please.
Okay, I'm hosting. I'm going to say Stephen first.
Okay. So I was just going to say with a lot of my drugs as well, you have to worry about interactions. But the really big thing that I just wanted to drive home is it's okay to interview your doctors. I do that. Because if they're not comfortable talking about certain things with me, that's going to be a problem. The first time I took an HIV test, the doctor asked me, why do you want to do that? And I was like, well, because I'm having sex, and you may have noticed that I've impregnated people, and I like boys too. So, yeah, let's just do this and do a full screen, not just the HIV. So once we got through the HIV test, I never went back to him and got a new doctor because I, want to take care of certain aspects of my health. So and it's okay. I also wanted to just really reflect on the idea that it being a personal failing and so forth. There was definitely a stigma to ADD and ADHD when I was coming up. I'm in my 50s, so I've been hearing about these things for a while. My stepdaughter is neurodivergent. She has autism. I know a lot of people with ADHD. It's not the same as it was. And you shouldn't feel bad about anything you're asking about. It's okay to ask questions as well. So
it also,
these are just some of the things.
Also, the DSM is different. you know, and testing has changed. So for sure, and the way that we identify autism as well is much different, and so that makes sense.
Yeah, like Asperger's is no longer, that's an outdated term.
Yeah.
Also, the ADD is also an outdated term. They no longer use that as well.
Okay, so can I hit you both with a hot take, and I'm open to being yelled at?
Sure.
I'm open to being yelled at.
I can't imagine yelling at you, Eric, but go ahead.
All right, everybody, here's the part where we clip this moment and then move forward 4 minutes. And then they're both going to be yelling at me. There is one. I don't even want to validate it by saying that it's a condition, because it's not labeled as a condition. It's a self-label that I've seen communities use that I don't think exists at all. Have y'all heard of HSPs, or highly sensitive people?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, maybe we won't disagree.
I had a very annoying conversation with someone who was
calmly,
trying to insist that I don't have ADHD, that I don't have borderline personality disorder, that I don't have bipolar 2. I'm just a highly sensitive person. And that drove me nuts. That was like, I don't know. Maybe I don't know enough about it. Yeah, yes, some people are sensitive, but just saying all these mental health conditions don't exist and it's just HSP.
The only thing that doesn't have any recognition or clinical studies or anything that's done it. Stephen, what's your take?
Well, there's an explanation around HSP, and I'll try to be brief. It isn't a thing. What it typically indicates, it's a thing for these people, but this is why they're having this problem. It's usually an indicator of trauma. It is people who have learned as a survival mechanism to be highly aware of patterns. So when they walk into a room and they read the room, that's a survival instinct that they learned as a child. They're highly sensitive in the concept that they are highly observant, but they're not necessarily like overstimulated or overreacting to things. There are reasons why they're reacting the way that they do, and it really is a survival thing. They probably have abuse in their background. Or they may not even be aware of what it was. You can have parents that aren't necessarily considered abusive, but they still weren't doing the right things, in terms of expectation. Like, let's say they picked on you for eating too much as a child. My family was the reverse. The older I got, the more food I could eat, the more I was praised for that. So that didn't turn out too well either. But it's not a thing that's not necessarily considered abusive. It certainly wasn't when I was growing up. So for HSP people who self-identify, I agree with you. It's a self-diagnosis, but I understand where it's coming from. And the explanation, because in myself, I was diagnosed with CPTSD, which is childhood PTSD. That didn't happen until I was well into adulthood, but I didn't really classify my trauma that way. Everybody grows up with something, to someone else's point about everybody's a little ADHD. Everybody grows up with something that their parents screwed up doing. And how much that affects you or doesn't affect you remains to be seen a lot of the time. But in my case, it was diagnosed as childhood PTSD. And that's fine. It's not going to change anything to our earlier point, and I'm in therapy for that, so it's fine. But in terms of highly sensitive people, based on my background in the pharmaceutical industry, where they want to give you a drug for everything and they don't have one for that, so that's the first giveaway. But the second is how many psychotherapists that I know, as friends, not my clinicians, who have told me about this, that it isn't really that they're highly sensitive to stimuli or to social interactions. Autistic people are sensitive to social interactions because they don't always make sense to them.
So honestly,
that's my take. Sorry.
No, that's okay. So my take is actually similar. My take is have y'all heard of histrionic personality disorder?
Histrionic?
ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
No, I haven't.
No. So it is in the same personality disorder cluster as narcissistic personalities, right? But histrionic.
One more time, I want to Google it and just have it up on my screen to read later.
Yeah, I pulled it up. HISTRIONIC. Histrionic personality disorder.
Thank you.
It has the same root as hysterectomy, and it is this. It's associated with women. Female hysteria, that kind of thing. And I've talked to plenty of therapists who have basically, to them, it's just narcissism for women.
Interesting.
I actually had a therapist get really, really upset with, that talking about that at all, because she was just like, no, it's just narcissism, but they want to add in the sexism of, well, it's a woman doing it, so we're going to give her her own women version. And I think that there's a significant contingent of people who are highly sensitive, and who I think is it just autism for women? It feels like, a lot of the autistic traits, but the only thing that feels different there is that it feels deeply insensitive to say that you feel more than other people. Because there's no way you have no idea what pain feels like to me, because you're not me, right? We live with the assumption that other people feel things similar to the way that we do, right? If you're happy, I assume that your happiness feels somewhat like my happiness, that your sadness feels somewhat like my sadness. But there's no way that I can see you experiencing sadness and go, yeah, but when I'm sad, I'm way sadder.
Right.
If and then even if that was the case, how do you differentiate between that and being unable to regulate your emotions, right? And or not being unable to, but not having the practice of self-regulating, or developing any kind of self-soothing techniques or anything like that. And so, it feels like an assumption that everyone else just doesn't feel things as strong as you do.
Well, and to piggyback on that, there are people talking about this being a self-diagnosis. People want to blame something or have an explanation for their own behavior, especially if it's not socially acceptable or they're struggling with it. They want to give it a name, whether they're male or female. And sometimes, that's the direction that they go with some of these more fringe ideas. But it doesn't. That's where I'm taking it from, really, more so than anything else, is that, like I said, it's with highly sensitive, it's probably trauma. And even in that case, they may not want to face the trauma. So they put themselves in a special category, to your point, that they feel things more deeply or more have more impact on them, but it really doesn't. It's just they want to feel special, and that's not unusual in humans either.
Well, and I do want to clarify. I see a message in the live chat that sensory processing sensitivity is a thing, and absolutely, I've worked in special ed classrooms where the best thing for some people is to wear headphones, because when things are loud, they're too loud, or when they're bright, they're too bright. But I'm not talking about your senses. I'm talking about your feelings. I'm talking about your ability to say, "Hey, I'm sad," and then your ability to look at someone else and say, "Oh, that person is sad, but I don't think they're as sad as me. I get extra sad." When it may be that the person you're looking at has more tools to be able to deal with, to cope. That's the right word. Yeah, to cope with their sadness, and you don't. You know? But I think invalidating someone else's sadness or depreciating their sadness in order to elevate your own as something that is extra sad
Right.
feels very dismissive of everyone else. Well, I think we can just assume that if, you know, it's okay to assume when other people are sad that they're sad, and it doesn't make your sadness less bad.
I'm
Well, and it
surprised
doesn't
you
have
thought
to
I
be
was
a
going to disagree
competition.
with you and yell at you.
Yeah, and please, if anyone disagrees, call in, because I thought at least one of you two was going to disagree with me,
No,
vehemently.
not at all. Same page. And then Stephen, I just want to correct one thing. I don't know if I misunderstood you or not, but when you said CPTSD, you said it was childhood PTSD. It's actually considered complex PTSD.
Yeah, that's what I
That's
thought.
the
Oh,
definition.
okay. I'm sorry, I well, I know what I was told about me, what the C stood for, but I understand what you're saying, yes. Probably for the
And
general,
so-
when you say CPTSD, it means what you say. When they said it to
Right.
me, they said childhood PTSD, and I just abbreviated and shouldn't have. I apologize.
No, honestly, it's often both.
And then the main difference between CPTSD and PTSD is with complex personality, is it is, rather than it being one event that caused PTSD, it's a continual, repeated event over and over and over again. So I have that as well. And how I developed that was because of working in the bar for 10 years. The first night I ever DJ'd, there was a woman being harassed by this guy, and so I noticed it. I grabbed her. I was like, "Hey, why don't you come sit in the DJ booth with me?" And I brought her back. And then at the end of the night, I walked her to her car, and the guy approaches me, and he starts like talking, shit about women nonstop. And I sat there frozen. He says to me, he's like, "What, you got a problem with me?" Like, "Sorry, man, I don't like the way you were treating that woman. It was inappropriate. She told you to leave her alone. You didn't." And he goes, "So you do have a problem?" I said, "Yeah." And he took a swing at me, and I took him down. And then all of a sudden, I get kicked in the face. And next thing I know, 5 guys are beating the shit out of me. And I'm just laying on the ground, covering myself, getting beaten, which felt like an eternity. That's where it started. But as a result of being a DJ, a bar manager, and security, I not only broke up, but I got into a lot of fights. So I get into fight or flight mode very easily. If I'm at a restaurant or a bar, I have to keep my back to a wall. I cannot keep my back to people. If someone bumps into me or grabs me, I feel my fists clench, and my heart races. It's instantaneous, and it's very hard to deal with. Exposure therapy has helped me a lot, but yeah, it can be difficult because, or when I was at the bar a few weeks ago, the guy behind me started talking about fighting, and instantly my brain started spiraling, my heart was racing, my fists were clenched, and I was like, "Oh my God, a fight's going to happen, a fight's going to happen, a fight's going to happen." And I was scared out of my mind. So that is, in summary, the best way I can explain what CPTSD is.
Thank you for that, and I'm sorry you had to struggle with this.
It's okay. Thank you, though.
Yeah. I've had one therapist use that term. I really don't know what that means in my scenario, or if that was just one person. So I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, and in my case, it wasn't a continual in the way that Ethan was just explaining. There were like key specific events that I have PTSD about, not any sort of continuing pattern or anything like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Okay.
It's not. That's where that's coming from for me. And if I understood what Ethan was saying, the difference between PTSD and complex PTSD is what Ethan was explaining in terms of his own situation, where mine doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then yeah. If you want to see me jump 3 feet in the air, slam a door in the other room, or something like that, Be a man and raise your voice. And I'll Jesus fuck. Stephen, thank you for calling in though. This has been fun. I really
Yeah, it was nice
appreciated your
talking to you,
input.
Stephen.
My pleasure, and it's nice to talk with you. It's been a while, so
Yeah.
yay! But yeah, so you guys have a good rest of your Sunday, Ethan. It was nice to meet you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Ethan's
You too. Have a
awesome.
good one, Stephen.
I want to have Ethan on more often. Hopefully you'll definitely see him. Hopefully soon. All right, take
I
care.
would not
Fingers
say
crossed.
no.
All right. So before we talk to Kenneth, you wanted to talk about something else, and I wanted to make sure that you had the chance to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll summarize it because it can be, it could be a very long conversation. So I'll just keep it. Earlier, we touched base on ADHD and how it can affect your sex life, which in turn can cause ED. I struggle with ED, especially in growing age, and a lot of men struggle with ED, and it's embarrassing, and no one wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
Dr. Daryl, that's one of the podcasts I have lined up. Dr. Daryl Ray and I are going to do a podcast on ED because that's something that should be normalized and should be okay. There is a lot of medication out there. And the problem is a lot of these, some of these doctors are just willy-nilly prescribing it, not doing necessary blood tests first, not prescribing the best medications, and are not even aware of other options available. Like there are FDA-approved supplements that you can get to treat it. Then there are things that are far more advanced if pills don't work that you can get that only a urologist can prescribe. That is essentially a guaranteed thing.
Wow.
The problem with that, I'm not naming the medication. If you want more information, I will happily give you my experience privately if you message me on Facebook. But the medication itself, while approved, some of the doctors I've encountered are not responsible with it. And there is no listed medical guideline of the starting dose of said medication. They basically ask you some questions and take a guess of how much to give you. So,
Interesting.
yeah, if you want more information, message me. I'll spew it all out to you. But consult a doctor if you're struggling. And, to any women out there, if you feel it's your fault, it's not.
It never
Don't
is.
blame
Yeah.
yourself. It's us. At the same time, please don't shame us if it does happen, because we already feel absolutely horrible about it when it does happen. So try and be encouraging, if you don't mind.
I'm sorry. I my brain just went to a scenario where somebody is unable to perform sexually and they just look at their partner and go, "This is your fault." You know?
So shady.
Oh, yeah, I was having fun. Then I realized it's you. Oh, jeez. I know men like that exist.
Yeah.
Why do we share a sex with fucking Andrew Tate?
Oh my God.
Speaking of shame, Jesus fuck.
All
right.
When people listen to him, I'm like, oh, that fucking guy. Or are you familiar with red pill content?
Oh yeah. Are you familiar with clavicular?
No.
Bro.
Okay, I need that spelled out. So
Oh.
I can read about
Oh.
it
I'm Google will just autofill. Start typing in what you think clavicular is, and you'll see this fucking look maxing, mogging, fucking mega jawed, fucking weirdo. He actually just recently got kicked off of all of his YouTube channels. All of his, he got dropped. Yeah, there's some. Yeah, I know. While you look up clavicular, I'm well, there's some good interview clips too. There was one interviewer who was just like, just a regular guy, and clavicular was talking to him as though he hated himself. And the guy was like, I love me. I'm happy with the way I look. And Clivic was like, if you're not going to take this seriously, then we're not going to do this interview. And he's like, what? I love myself. And so the guy just gets up and walks away. It's just, mwah, chef's kiss. What a fucking weirdo. All right, let's talk to Kenneth in Kansas. Kenneth.
Oh, is this the Kenneth we both know?
It is.
Kenneth!
I did not have.
Oh my God!
I did not have clavicular on my SG bingo card today.
Look, that was a whole ass like evening of just what the fuckery. Yeah.
So I gotta share a story how Kenneth and I met, and I'll make it very, very quick.
Yeah.
So that Kenneth can talk.
All right.
So you may know Kenneth from the Atheist Experience Talk Heathen. He's been on YFNA. Anyways, he saw my debate with a presuppositionalist, Joel Sedekase. I was terrible at that debate. Like, I was not prepared for a presup. I did very, very bad. And he reached out to me and very politely was like, hey man, I saw it, can I offer you some, tips and advice? Very polite. But I, obviously thinking, man, I'm not saying he was thinking this, probably like, man, this guy was not very good. But yeah,
no. It wasn't that. No, you just didn't know the move. Eric knows. I mean, if you don't know the moves, if you've never heard a presuppositionalist talking to you before, it sounds like they're almost making sense. Yeah. And so, yeah, that was, you were just in the boat of not being familiar with the material. That was all that was. But,
that's fair. And then I remember I ordered you an Ethernet cable, and I'm like, dude, you need to be on camera. You're smart.
Yeah. Well, so you guys were talking about like autism and ADHD and this stuff. And so I've been diagnosed with ADHD as a kid. And now I'm a parent, and I have a daughter who is autistic and who goes to a preschool for kids with special needs. And there was something that there's a guy who works at her school who's sort of the director of their educational and clinical programs and stuff. And he said something to me that really threw me for a loop. He said that in his decades of experience working with autistic kids, that the number one factor, the number one sort of predictor as to how well those kids are going to be able to transition from this preschool into like kindergarten, maybe, depending special ed or regular ed programs, that the number one predictor of the success of these kids is boils down to the expectations that their parents have of the kids. And my favorite thing about being a skeptic is like constantly feeling like I don't know anything. And him saying that really threw me for a loop, because I had these ideas about what autism was. Mm-hmm. And, I still have ideas about what ADHD is and how it's affected me. But my thought was like, okay, well, if this is like a neurological thing, then why would the expectations of someone else matter at all? Why would how another person treats you affect your, how you are? And I had all these questions, and then he gave me he directed me to read a book called The Age of Diagnosis by a neurologist, can't think of her, Suzanne Sullivan, I think. And the book just blew my mind, because it was all about people who had been diagnosed with things who then, may have later found out that the diagnosis was not real. And then when they find, or that it wasn't like substantiated, that their behavior changed, their physical symptoms changed sometimes. And so my question posing to you guys, I don't want to just ramble, is how much do you guys think that our own perceptions of self, and how much do you think that the expectations others put on us affect our sort of mental states when it comes to things like ADHD and autism?
Man, there's so much baked in there, I don't even know where to start. Ethan, do you have anything that comes to mind immediately?
Well, I was actually going to say, can you summarize that question and simplify it a little bit more for me?
Can I try and repeat it back and maybe
please.
See? Yeah.
Steel man me, Eric.
So I think that did y'all read The Secret Garden? Do you remember The Secret Garden?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
going to explain The Secret Garden to Ethan for a second. So The Secret Garden is a book about a girl who is sent to live at this house. There's a boy there who's very, very ill. He's in a wheelchair, and he's not allowed to do anything for himself. And it's the story continues. There are movies. It's absolutely worth watching. It's adorable. But ultimately, this young boy was kept in a wheelchair and kept from being able to do anything himself because the expectation was that he couldn't, and so he believed him, and he didn't, and he said, "I'm weak. I can't do this. I'm not able to," and he never challenged himself, and he was never challenged by other people to do things because, well, he can't. That was the automatic assumption. And so, Kenneth, when you explain what you just said, what I think of is The Secret Garden. I think of, oh, well, you have this, this diagnosis. So obviously you can't do for yourself X, Y, and Z based on your preconceptions of what somebody can do.
Totally.
And therefore they're never challenged to actually see if they can.
People did that with me when I had the ADHD diagnosis. It was like, oh, well, this kid can't, perform in school. This kid can't, sit still. And it was interesting. I have to run, but I'm curious. I want to hear you guys, what your guys' takes are, and I love the show. So thank you guys.
It's nice talking again.
Kenneth, I didn't realize you were Kenneth. Jesus Christ, we need to talk.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said his last name. That's
call me.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Okay.
Sorry, Kenneth.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye. Okay. So he's got to go, but we're going to continue the conversation. So what are your thoughts, Ethan?
Yeah, I mean, like, for instance, if I'm understanding where you guys were going with this correctly, when I was in 6th grade, I was struggling to keep up in reading class. So they had me take, this is before ADHD was as, well known as it is now. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't diagnosed as a child. I took a reading comprehension test in 6th grade, and I was told that I had the reading comprehension level of a 3rd grader, which completely destroyed me. Had I, known about ADHD and been diagnosed, they could have explained to my teachers, he's not, a dumbass. He just can't focus. But that has stuck with me my entire life, and why I feel very inferior in the atheist community, because you guys read so much, you're all so smart, you know all these words and all this, and I can't keep up with you guys, and it affects me to this day. I generally, as a person, think of myself as dumb. I don't think I'm smart, and it's that hearing that is just, it's always in the back of my head.
You generally do tend to surprise me sometimes, because we'll have really deep, good conversations, and then out of nowhere you'll be like, yeah, but you're smart. And be like, you just, where does that come in? I've never detected it from you. I think that there's a degree of humility that happens, and I think that you are a very humble person. I think I do think that is, nah, bro, you're good. You're good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate hearing that. But
so I think that a lot of people who are famous for being smart are really good at marketing themselves. And I have spent time with people who are professionally very smart, and no, they're just really good at marketing themselves. So yeah, no. What's up?
Oh no, please, I'll let you continue.
No. I was just gonna start shitting on people who are professionally smart and how they have the emotional intelligence of 3-year-olds. Go ahead.
One thing you taught me that sticks with me to this day,
Yeah.
and I use it, is because I have conversations with people all the time, everywhere, about everything. And I recently ran into this guy on my Facebook who was engaging on a few different things, and every time I'm like, what the hell is this guy saying? And I'm like, I even reached out to a few people. I'm like screenshotting. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And fortunately, both of them were like, well, I think he's saying this, but yeah, this is kind of doesn't make sense. He just used a bunch of big words. So I said to him, I'm like, I'm not trying to be rude, but can you break it down more simply for me? Pretend I am like your 12-year-old nephew. Because you had said, like, if you can say it in big words, then you need to be able to explain it in small words. And if you can't, then maybe you don't understand it yourself. Is that accurate of what you said?
Close. I think I'm a little more, there's more wiggle room there. I think that you start to learn about a thing and then eventually you get it and it's very complex. And so you have to use big words because that's the only framing that you know. And then the more you work with it, the more you can break it down into smaller and smaller words. So I think that being able to explain something in a simple way is demonstrating mastery of it. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's just, that point has stuck with me. Like Jordan Peterson drives me nuts. He loves doing that, and half the time I'm like, does this guy even know what he's saying? I'm not a fan of him. Are you?
Fuck no. Are you kidding me? That fucking trans bigot, that piece of shit. He only got famous because he cried like a baby when he was told that he couldn't discriminate against trans people when he was a college professor. And then on top of that, every time it comes to normal conversations, there's the rules for him and there's the rules for everybody else. If he makes a joke, you need to laugh. If you make a joke, fuck you, you're not taking it seriously. If he oh yeah, if you make an assertion, he tears every piece down. He makes an assertion, you're not allowed to question it. He has absolutely no ability to interact with folks. He talks at them. He likes to hear himself talk, and because of that, he has surrounded himself with only people who agree with him, and so he's wound up in weird, completely indefensible positions. And also, you're not fucking brave when you are trying to prop up the system of superiority, right? So, like, if you were in a white supremacist country, to say you should be proud to be white, you're not fucking brave, moron, right? If you live in a country where trans folks have the highest suicide rate out of anyone else in your society, if legally trans folks are being systematically exempted from being able to exist publicly in your world, saying that, you just have a problem with the transes, you're not fucking brave, bro. I think Jordan Peterson is absolutely, he's a symptom of what happens, when a society is faced with its own bigotry, right? When a society, that saying, what is it? When you're used to supremacy, equality feels like
oppression,
right? And I think that when you have someone who is the beneficiary of a society that's tailored to them, they see that everybody else is starting to get the same treatment, they feel oppressed. I think that Jordan Peterson is the hives that the world breaks out in when equity becomes something that we try and strive for. So, yeah.
And that, and I don't want to, I don't like dogging on anybody, and I'm not trying to dog on Christians because, a few of my closest friends are a Christian, and they are honestly, some of those amazing people, and I love them to absolute death. But some of these far right Christians, they constantly talk about how they're persecuted, and I'm not going to apologize for my faith, and the liberals are trying to take Christmas away. Trump saying, we're saying Merry Christmas again. I brought Christmas back because Christmas is under attack. It's like, it drives me nuts. this persecution complex they feel they have when they are the dominant people in America. America is, while it's not a Christian nation, it is a country full of Christians and built around Christianity. So I'm sorry, white men saying their Christianity is persecuted drives me up a wall.
Yeah, especially when they are trying to hurt other folks for not accepting the supremacy of their religion and their religious.
Right.
It's. But I think that, there's a whole conversation to be had about that. Since this is the ADHD episode, I'm going to run with it. So I think that, honestly, the culture war is a thing that I feel like people on the left have rolled their eyes about for a very long time. And I think that our current political situation is largely, there's a large amount of it that I think us not responding seriously to the culture war accusations is, I think, what got us here.
Can you give that an example?
Sure. So when Christian culture warriors say, oh, they, the left, or they are taking the Christ out of Christmas. They're saying happy holidays, not Merry Christmas. How dare they? We need to put the Christ back in Christmas. Right? They are trying to destroy women, or, the concept of gender. So they are trying to trans your kids. Right? Those are culture war talking points. Those are people who are saying, hey, we have a system that we want this way, and anytime that we need to share the world with other people, we are going to pretend that we are being attacked. And I think that it's telling on yourself that when your first response is that's a conspiracy, it's because you tend towards conspiracies. I think that if you want to see a world without if you accuse people of saying, oh, you're trying to get rid of Christianity, well, it's because if you had control, you would get rid of Muslims, atheists, and non-Christians. Right. And I think that a war on one side is what the result is of that. And a one-sided war doesn't mean there's no war. It just means that only one side is progressing in the way the direction they want to, and everyone else is just going to be subject to it.
To counter that, and I hope this doesn't get me hate, but there are people. I blame the media and social media, but the far left people kind of do the same. They lump the right people all into one category. If you support Trump, you're a racist. If you support Trump, you're transphobic. There's too much generalization on both sides. They just believe the extreme of each side. Because when I sit down with most of my conservative Republican friends or family, I find that they agree with me on a lot more things than they realize. And when I pointed out to family members, hey, I think you're actually more liberal than you realize. Like, no, I'm not liberal. I'm not a liberal. Like, they're scared of that. But it's like when we sit down and actually talk and address the real problems, not these fictitious problems that the far left or far right talk about, we can actually progress.
So I think that I don't want to make the mistake of acting like it's the same amount on both sides. I don't think it is.
Okay.
I think that the left, when they start pulling the alarm bells, it's purity testing each other out of existence. More than it is necessarily saying, oh, yes, the other side. But I have seen, I get what you're saying. And I think there's some black and white thinking that I've taken part in. And I think that some of it I feel justified about. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I've talked to family members who have said, "Oh, they voted. I voted for Trump because of taxes." Right?
Right.
I don't agree with his social policy. And my response is that that's exactly what Mussolini supporters said. They said he made the trains run on time. Right? Hitler fixed the economy.
Right.
So were the people who voted for the Nazis justified because Hitler fixed the economy? Were people, I mean, the thing is
no, I get where you're going. That's a very good point.
People don't understand that authoritarianism is not antithetical to democracy. A democracy that is well running, that listens to the will of the people, means the people have the ability to vote for an autocrat. They have the ability to vote for a dictator, right?
Right.
And so, go ahead.
What I was going to say is what is really nice right now is everyone seems to be turning on Trump. Like the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and even Alex Jones turned on Trump. Like that speaks volumes for like how bad Trump is right now. And when I had a friend say to me when I sent him something like, "Do you regret voting for Trump now?" And he said, "You keep asking me that." He's like, "No one could have seen this coming." And I'm like, "Man, I'm sorry."
Really? Because we've been ringing the bell for a decade.
I'm like, I've literally told you how crazy this man is for a long time, and a lot of us liberals have been telling you, how dangerous Trump is. So, we were aware that this stuff could happen. He's a madman.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that you can be liberal in your personal views, but if you are voting for a system that sets up concentration camps around the country, puts kids in cages, and lets entire militarized groups run around with masks and no name tags, or no identification, then that's I feel like that's the encapsulation of the I had good intent, so the fact that I ran your kid over but I didn't mean to means you shouldn't hold me fucking accountable.
That's fair.
Like the impact is still the same.
About people who, generally just watch Fox News. That's it. That's their news source. They're not getting the information about what's happening with ICE and these kids in cages or things. They're only seeing the good things Trumps are doing. Do you necessarily fault them or think they're a bad person when they genuinely are not aware of what's going on?
So I personally fault the left in a lot of ways. Honestly, I think that the left has tended to try to, they say that they're taking the high road, and I think that they have actively sought to compromise on their own values proactively, just so that they can be seen to be, in the spirit of collaboration, right? We're working together. We're reaching across the aisles. Please let me not live up to my values so that I can tell people that we worked together. I think that organizations that are pumping out bullshit news should have had the broadcast licenses revoked a very long time ago.
Absolutely.
And they didn't.
Wasn't it? Maybe you know this, or someone in the comments knows this, but don't quote me on this, but I believe it was 40, 50, 60 years ago, there was some type of law or rule in place where the news media was required to just supply the facts.
So
the presidents removed that.
There was there was a law that you needed to give equal time politically to both sides. There have always been crazy people, but those crazy people haven't always been the ones with all of the attention. I think that you're right. I think we've given all the attention to the fringe. But I also think that, if nobody's paying attention when Democrat leaders, right, if AOC can be screaming from the rooftops that something's wrong, but then fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene decides that she's going to stop being a piece of shit for a day, and everybody goes, "Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene," then you're showing your hand. You cared about Marjorie Taylor Greene a whole lot more than you did AOC, didn't you? So let's be very, very clear. Even people who are on the left value what Republicans are saying a whole lot more than they're valuing their own side, and I think that's because no.
It's just all I was trying to say is it's refreshing to see these people turn on him.
It is.
Like, I think she sucks, but it's just nice to actually see these people somewhat coming into reality and recognizing how bad this man is.
You know what I'd really love to see happen?
What?
I'd really, really love to see when these things get realized in front of the International Criminal Court. And until then, I'm gonna just be a bitter be bitter and angry about it. But I think it's only because, like, Ethan, I get more frustrated at my family when they do something stupid than at strangers. Because if I see a stranger do something stupid, I don't care. I don't know what you're capable of. I don't know what your life story has been. But when I see somebody that I love really fucking up, I get angry. I get angry because I go, you're better than that. Right, and I'm actively invested in your growth as a person. When I'm invested in you and I see you not you're not following through with being as good a person as I know you are, I'm so angry about it. And so the day I completely stop giving a fuck about the left is the day I'll stop bitching. But until then, I'm going to keep being angry because I see that as we should be better than this. You know, I've said it on the show before and I'll say it again. The options aren't doomer or be a bitch. You know, I think I think that's what a lot of, you know, rank and file Democrats would say about me, is that I'm just black-pilled. I'm just a doomer. No, I'm just not accepting, you know, your response as the only acceptable one. That's all. Right. The option shouldn't just be a bitch. What?
You know, for me, I
Space Barbarian says I'm misanthropic because I care. Damn straight. Either go ahead.
For me, I've had people vocalize their frustration with me, you know, in my personal life and content creation. That why do I associate with people on the far right, or people with extreme views, or people that are, you know, homophobic and stuff like that? It's because, you know, not only do I not want to live in an echo chamber, but I feel an obligation to help educate people. I want to change people's minds. For those that don't know, I was a Trump supporter. I loved Rush Limbaugh. I loved Bill O'Reilly. I was a racist. I was far right. And it was just being willing to listen and people being patient with me and educating me. And through time, it was like I changed. So I'm not telling anyone they need to do that by any means. But for me, I feel a sense of duty in talking to these people and trying to help them, you know, see the other side and possibly get them away from these far right-leaning ideology.
Agreed. And I don't think that those things are mutually exclusive. I think that when you grow as a person, part of that comes with accepting and understanding that when you screwed up, you screwed up. If you're looking for absolution after the fact, the way that people talk about God absolving you of your sins as if they never existed at all, you can't wash those things away. You did what you did, grow as a person, don't do it again. But when you expect a world to not, you know, then that's the only time we have a problem. So, like, yeah. No, I agree. I want people to be able to listen. I want people to be able to join. I want people to be able to know, hey, you know, there's a way out. And I think often that comes with meeting people where they are in the conversation. Me being a good listener means I'm not agreeing with you. Does not mean I'm agreeing with you, right?
Exactly.
I can be a good listener, understand what you're saying, and also have different views.
Right. And we can be angry inside too. Mm-hmm. Like I do. There's times I'm like, my heart's pounding and I'm infuriated at things being said. But externally, I'm like, nope, remain calm, remain friendly. Me lashing out isn't going to get anywhere. So just keep going.
To a degree.
Of course.
If I think you're hopeless, I'm not going to waste time on you.
And that's fair. I agree. There are lines, there are people I'm just like, fuck this person. I'm not dealing with them.
Yeah.
And I had a, go ahead.
And I think that if you've done enough damage, I think that you could be a saint, tomorrow, and you're out. Like, we don't give, I think that when we give a million exceptions and opportunities for folks, we're not recognizing that we're doing that at the cost of other people.
No, and you're 100% right. And I'm glad you clarified that, because I do agree with you, and I didn't want to come across as like, everyone always deserves forgiveness. So thank you for saying that.
I liken it to a public pool. Right, and we're trying to make it a safe place for everybody, and so at some point they're going to go, but what about the sharks? How many sharks are we going to let in the pool? And it's like, okay, we'll try. Okay, shark ate somebody. Okay, cool. How many opportunities? How many people need to get eaten so that we can say that we were a good place for the sharks to be as well? Because for every one person that leaves your community because it's no longer a safe place, you made a choice.
Right.
The choice was made. So like, maybe the sharks can find another pool, or whatever. But I think that if I'm talking to somebody in a compassionate way, if I'm talking to somebody I deeply disagree with, I can be cordial with them. I can be civil. We can have good conversations. I can listen. That doesn't mean that I'm creating a space in my community for them.
Exactly. You're right.
And so I think, yeah, I'm sure you agree. Yeah, you do. I think we have one more person who wants in on the conversation, who looks like they are not using their real name. So we will see. They call themselves Lord of Venom.
I think I might know who this is.
Yeah, should we talk to them?
If it's who I think it is, we should absolutely talk to them.
All right.
But I don't know if that's him.
Lord Venom, I feel weird with the name. Can I call you Bob?
I mean, you can call me whatever you want, just not late for dinner, please.
All right. Got it. So, Bob,
no, Ethan, you do know me.
That is
Ethan, you know who I am. So, no, I've been listening this whole time.
Yeah.
I found it very interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that I don't really agree with a lot of everything that you said.
That's
fine.
Good. Okay.
We're here not to we're not here to agree on everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So first off, I am a conservative.
Okay.
All right. So I am a 3-time Trump supporter, and I do not support Trump at this point.
Sure.
Just a preference there. So people do change. I know you guys were talking about culture war stuff and everything.
Yeah.
I originally wanted to talk about ADHD and how I think it's primarily BS. I don't really believe in ADHD.
Oh, Bob, you should have called earlier. Damn it.
I know.
We got like 10 minutes left. How can you do that to us?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I was at the gym, then I had to go shopping.
Like you got to take care of your body and your needs. How dare you? You know what?
I know. How dare I?
You know what? Okay, so I as far as the ADHD stuff, I want you to talk about what you want to talk about, but you just said you're not going to be able to talk about the ADHD stuff. Can you keep an eye on when we have Ethan on next so you can call again and we can talk about that? Because we'd love to talk to you about it. Yeah?
Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, I can talk about ADHD. I was actually diagnosed with ADHD when I was 4 years old and was on medicine. So I think it's BS.
I'm happy to put a pin in it because it sounds like you wanted to talk about the conservative stuff more. But
I mean, that's fine. That's fine. I think Ethan was talking about how there was a law in place about how the news had to talk about facts and not propaganda. That was Obama that got rid of that. Obama got rid of that law.
Yeah, I want to be clear. In his second year, no, I think it was second or third year, I found out that Obama had authorized strikes on civilians, military strikes on civilians in other countries.
In Syria?
Yeah, and so I'm not a hypocrite about it. I definitely hold the left accountable as well.
Yeah. So I mean, so I would be considered far right. Okay, that's what Ethan and I have had many conversations, and you would consider me to be a far right person with my views and everything. Mm-hmm. But I am very anti-war. I'm very anti-conflict, especially what's going on right now in Iran. And I could go on and on how this is all dumb and stupid, and how I don't support this at all. But like Ethan was saying, like how the media is controlling everything, and it's all one-sided. If you're on the left, if you're a liberal, if you're a Democrat, you listen to CNN, MSNBC, ABC, blah 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 blah. And then if you're a conservative, Republican, whatever, you listen to Fox News. And everyone stays in their little echo chambers. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem, is that everyone wants to stay in echo chambers. I don't stay in echo chambers. I don't listen to Fox. I don't listen to CNN really, or MSNBC, or, I do, but I don't. I just want to see what the other side's talking about. I don't listen to Fox because it's all a bunch of propaganda BS. Mm-hmm. And all they're doing is just glazing Trump. Like, Trump is so great. He's doing this and good. I was like, shut up. No, he's not. Shut up. He's just destroying this country right now, all because of a certain country. I don't know what I can say. I don't want to nuke. I don't want to nuke your channel talking about a certain country.
You want to bring up Israel, Palestine, and genocide. Here's my piece on that.
Okay.
Israel is a country. Judaism is a religion. If I catch a whiff of anti-Semitism, I'm going to say, fuck that. We're ending that because some of my best friends in the world are Jewish. And I've spent so long having wonderful conversations with rabbis and things like that. But if you want to talk about criticisms of the nation of Israel, especially with the way that they've interacted geopolitically and with, the way that they've enacted, let's call it what it is. They're attempting to completely wipe Palestinians off the face of the planet. So, that is not in Torah. It turns out that God didn't command necessarily that. He did command, the Canaanites to be wiped off in the conquest of Canaan, when Joshua came in from Egypt, and all of that. So maybe they're just trying to continue that. But I've broken the ice. What's up?
Yeah. So no, I was just saying that everything being orchestrated right now is through them, through the Jews and everything. Well, it's more Zionism than anything. I'm not saying all Jews are bad, because you can't just blank slate everybody into one thing. It's not
that's why
Democrats are bad, not all conservatives are bad, not all Christians are bad, not all atheists. You know what I'm saying?
So instead of saying Jews, say Israel. Let's talk about the countries and what the countries are doing, or Netanyahu.
I mean, we can, but I mean, there's you have Israel, the country, but then there's a lot of people that are protesting right now what's going on because they don't stand for it, and those are more your Orthodox Jews. But then you have your Zionist Jews that are actually wanting the war and everything.
But
so that would be your Netanyahu's and the Likud party that they have out there that's wanting to do this, and mostly you have two parts of Judaism, right? And they all follow the Old Testament, and they don't acknowledge the New Testament at all, which is the problem in itself.
No, well, that is the definition of their faith. You have the Torah and
the Talmud. The Talmud is the evil side.
Well,
if you've ever read the Talmud, it's horrible.
Bob,
you can say the Bible is evil too. I mean, I could say, I could agree. If you want to say certain parts of the Bible is bad, okay, that's your interpretation of it. But when you have literally a people calling other non-Jewish people goyim or goys and referring to us as cattle or subhuman, that's kind of a problem, and that's why they have a superiority complex.
Well, so that is definitely not geopolitical. That is religious. and specifically talking about the religion of a people. And
Yeah, but they don't have a land anyways.
I think, well, there were Jewish people before Israel existed, as a country. And
Well, yeah, but how many times did God kick these people out?
well,
God made them nomads.
if
you want to go from
I don't think that there's a God who made people anything. I think that we are who we are. I think everybody deserves a place, but I also don't think that anybody has a God given, like God said that this is your place to exist, right?
Okay, no, but that's what they're saying, though. The Jews are saying God granted us this 2,000 years ago. That's
So,
what
yeah,
they've all been saying.
as are the Palestinians. Yep.
Well, the Palestinians have been there forever. The Jews have been kicked out of 10 countries? Over 1,000 times?
Yep, and
you don't have to believe. Hold on. You're interrupting. Hold on, buddy. Hold on. I'm not trying to interrupt you.
That's true.
Okay, I'm trying to be cordial. Okay,
that's a good call. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to have a good conversation. I don't want to be disingenuous, and I don't want us to speak over each other because we have all these great ideas and everything. I want to keep this as respectful as possible.
Sure.
So you were asking me why I feel the way that I do. And you are an atheist. That's fine. You don't have to believe in all. You know what? I'm just going to say you don't have to believe in all the religious bullshit that goes on, right? That's fine. You don't have to believe any of that, okay? But us as Christians, okay, we have what we believe through our religion, and the Jews have theirs, what they believe, and then you have the Muslims that believe. All right, we're all Abrahamic. I believe I'm saying that right. Okay, and we all have a familiar idea of what's going on, except the Jews are so destructive in how they go about things because they think they are God's chosen people, but they're not God's chosen people. And if you read the Bible specifically, they've been kicked out of all these countries and made to be nomadic people this whole time. And even when Jesus, yes, he's a Jew. Okay, congratulations. That's not a God Jew. But he called them the synagogue of Satan because of the fact that they did not they didn't look at him as the prophet as he was. They didn't look at him as the Son of God. They don't believe in the divinity of Christ. So if you're coming from a Christian view and Jews and why we're antithetical of each other is because of this, why we're different, Bob, completely different, is because, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. You said a whole bunch of things, and if you continue, I'm not going to get the chance to respond to really any of them.
All right, go. No, you're right. Sorry.
No, that's okay. So, do you think that Christians are God's chosen people?
No, we never said we were God's chosen people.
Do you think that God has a chosen people?
Not anymore.
Cool. We're in agreement. Well, I don't think there ever was, but I do want to move on to something I think is a little more important to me. I know that we have like 2 minutes left because you called too late, Bob.
I'm sorry.
But here's something. Whether I'm an atheist or not, I'm a pluralist.
Okay.
I want to live in a society where we can all exist together, and because of that, I'm willing to defend people who hate me. I'm willing to stand on the side of someone who doesn't want to live in a world with me if it means that we can still live in that world together. Because I think that's a value judgment. That's just somewhere I am, and that's something that I want. So, like, people have said, hey, Eric, why are you, why do you defend Palestinians? They wouldn't defend you because, I'm bisexual, and it's like, well, because I'm a pluralist, right? I'm not Jewish, but I would stand up for Jewish folks. I'm not Muslim, but I would stand up for Muslim folks. Would they necessarily stand up for me? No, maybe not, maybe, but I'm a pluralist. And so I guess my question for you is, do you think that we should live in a Christian society, or are you more pluralist?
Obviously I want to say that I want to live more in a Christian society.
I mean, it's honest, right? If that's the case.
Take in mind that I was a hardcore atheist for 20 years before I converted back to Christianity. So I'm not coming from I was an atheist hardcore. I used to attack Christians violently. Well, not violently, like in a physical sense, but verbally. I would accost them and use their scripture against them. So I can see both sides of the coin from a Christian and an atheist view. So I'm not completely ignorant.
Can I interject, Bob, for 1 second?
Yeah.
Ethan, we've been talking over you this entire time, and you want to interject? Yeah, please.
Just no, one funny story. When I was a Christian, Bob was an atheist.
Really?
Yes, we would bicker back and forth, and then Bob became a Christian, and I became an atheist. And unfortunately, you're familiar with the angry atheist phase. I was actually, when I was an angry atheist, I was kind of a dick to him about his Christianity. And, I was very rude and dismissive. And, it kind of shattered our friendship at the time.
I think that we don't have the time because it's actually past time. But I think that, Ethan, earlier on, you had said that you want to have compassionate conversations with people because when you think that you can reach them, we can grow together, And I'm just kind of, you didn't say that exactly, but I take that as kind of the core thesis of what you were saying.
Yeah.
Bob, I think that there are things that you've said that are anti-Zionist and also anti-Semitic. And I think that...
Define anti-Semitism to me, please.
Sure. So it's the faith itself, right? In the same way that, like, if you were against, the Muslim faith, not because of what the people did, but because you believe that the teaching itself is evil, right? I think that I've met Reform Jews. I've met, I've met more like hardcore Jews, and I think that it is a complex thing with a lot of nuance, and I don't want to make space for people to paint with a broad brush and I don't practice hate of people's religion, and I don't want to make a space where other people do.
No, that's fine. But I'm trying to get. But you haven't answered my question. What makes someone Semitic?
Oh, if they say they are,
what makes them Semitic though? No, there's a real definition to what makes someone actually Semitic. I want to know if you know what it is.
Yeah, if they say that they're Jewish.
Okay, no, being Semitic is being from the Middle East. You have Middle Eastern bloodlines. 87% of Jews of today are Ashkenazi, and so they're European descent. So they have no bloodline or blood ties to the Middle East at all. Now you do have your Muslim or your Arabic Jews. Okay, I forget what they're called, the Mizrahi. I think that's the term. But
hold on, just a second. I just, number one, I don't think we have enough time, and so I'm afraid that if me jumping in and then not giving you a chance to respond is going to make this whole thing feel really awkward. I think that next time we talk, I'm going to want to ask you why you want to. It sounds like you're gatekeeping a community that you're not a part of, and
What do you mean?
Well, you're not Jewish, are you?
No.
Right, and you're defining what counts as Jewish or what the definition of Jewish is, when other people who are Jewish probably have their own definitions that may disagree with yours, and so.
I'm just using textual definitions of a word.
So I'm
not gatekeeping anything.
Oh.
I don't.
So then that was my assumption. That was my assumption. Bob,
no, because I want people to, if they're going to use a word, I want them to use it properly. That's like you calling me transphobic because I'm against trans, but I'm not. But phobic means an irrational fear or something. I don't have an irrational fear of trans people. I don't have an irrational fear of fat people. I don't have an irrational fear of straight people. I don't have an irrational fear of whatever person. So when people say that you're something phobic, it's bullshit. It's a bullshit term because you're just trying to dehumanize someone. That's all that is. No one has an irrational fear of anyone. That doesn't make sense.
Bob, how can you? You're like the witch in the woods with like the candy trail. That I just want to follow the candy trail. Like, you drop so many things that I want to respond to, and I don't have time, Bob. So next time, go to the gym early. Get out early enough that we can spend some good time talking to you, okay?
Yeah. And this was actually a good conversation. I respect you. I like what you're doing and everything. So good job. Keep going. And like I said, this is nothing personal. It's just two people having a conversation. I don't hold any resentment towards you or anything.
Yeah,
and hopefully you don't either with me. Because like I said, I just want to have just normal conversations with people, especially on the opposite side of the aisle. Because that's how we find meaning. Because otherwise, then we're just going to hate each other for no reason.
I agree. I think that if we want to keep the conversation to talking to atheists about what they believe and to Christians about what they believe, I'm more comfortable. I don't like having conversations about people who are not represented in the conversation.
Okay.
And that's so that feels to me like I'm going to wind up sticking my foot way more in my mouth than I already do. And so I don't want to talk out of my ass more than I already do. I'm insufferable enough already. Bob, thank you for calling in. Ethan, anything you want to say to him before we wrap up?
No, Bob. I'm joining the Discord chat with Eric for a little bit, but I will text you.
All right, sounds good. All right, thank you so very much for having me on. It was an honor and a privilege. I respect you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Appreciate it, brother. Take care.
Take it easy, man. Your face at some of the comments was entertaining. I would love to just, have you two just have a long conversation.
You do that to an ADHD person, especially. Like, I just saw 12 squirrels that just all jumped out. Everything was shiny, and I wanted to jump in on each thing. I think that I was interrupting him every other word, and that wasn't appropriate. And then when he did talk, he brought up 50 things that I wanted to interrupt and be like, ugh! And so you kind of find yourself in that bad situation where you're trying to pick which hill to die on, and no one is going to agree because everybody is going to be like, that's the hill you should have done it on. And so I'm sure, but that's okay.
Yeah, I wish you would have called it earlier.
Yeah, me too. Can you believe you had to go to the grocery store and the gym? What a fucker. So I want to read some super chats. We got some good super chats. So Sean Loves Maths sent 3 super chats, £5 each time. Thank you, Sean. Sean has been continuously bringing in math proofs and math subjects. That is Sean's wheelhouse. And they tend to run contrary to things that I am pretty hardline about. Like, you know what the laws of logic are?
I've heard of them, but I can't articulate what they are.
No worries. There's 3 of them. There's identity, non-contradiction, and the excluded middle. So a thing is what it is, isn't what it isn't, and can't be what it is and what it isn't at the same time. I think that those are fundamental, and I don't think they can ever be broken.
Okay.
And then Sean Loves Math brings me theoretical math concepts that throw it away. And I get mad. I get mad because I'm confused and my math isn't good enough to say that he's wrong. So let's see what Sean has to add in today. For infinitely many natural n, the number n squared plus 27n plus 91 is a perfect square. I mean, sure. Note, a number is natural if it's positive and whole. That sounds okay. Sean then says, an evolutionary advantage in one area can be disadvantage in others. Ants make for bad whales and vice versa. Fair enough. You're right. I think that when we were talking about evolution and ADHD, I was definitely operating on this assumption, or this like shorthand of saying, hey, evolution necessarily is or talking about evolution as being advantageous, as if it exists without context. Good call. Sean Loves Math. Next says, colorblind soldiers were employed by the British Air Force during World War II because they could see through camouflage on the ground. It was an advantage. Ooh. That makes sense. Huh. I had no idea about that. Okay. Detroit Atheist Queen, our phenomenal, amazing call screener, who we would not have been able to have any of the conversations with callers without, who says, thanks for having this conversation. I was diagnosed with bipolar 2 at 31. So many times I've wondered if I also had ADHD, especially with looking back at my childhood. P.S. Welcome back, Ethan. Aw. Space
Thanks.
Barbarian spent $5 and said, oh, hi, here's a super chat. Oh, hi, Space Barbarian. And then Q says moo and sent $2. Thank you so much. Ethan, you're coming back?
Hell yeah.
Yeah?
Hell yeah. I've got stuff lined up.
So where can people find you?
YouTube.com/YFN Atheist.
Oh, what does YFN Atheist stand for?
Your friendly neighborhood atheist.
Okay.
And then you can also, find me on Facebook. I do regularly post, controversial or taboo topics and get people to engage on my Facebook. So you're welcome to friend request me. It's facebook.com/Ethan F as in Frank Michael. Michael is spelled Micheal, not Michael.
Okay.
My only rules of engagement on my Facebook has to remain friendly. No name calling, no insulting, just engaging in a conversation. If you do insult, regardless of what side you're on, you're booted.
So would you be so kind after this episode to shoot me the links so I can just upload them right into the description for this episode?
Sure.
Awesome. One more super chat before we wrap up. The Fuzzy Logic says, for someone who believes ADHD is bullshit, Bob sure did have a hard time focusing himself For someone who believes ADHD is bullshit, Bob sure did have a hard time focusing himself enough to avoid gish galloping all over secular atheist Jews. I don't think I'm sure I should have done better in a whole bunch of ways, and I do think secular atheist Jews are a great example. Heck, one of my closest friends. Do you remember Russell Glasser?
Yeah, of course. I've always wanted to interview him, but I've had no way to get in touch with him.
I have a weekly game night with him. I have for years. I'll ask him.
Can you drop a seed to ask him?
Of course.
Because
Of
he
course.
was also instrumental in me becoming an
Yeah,
atheist.
he's a secular atheist Jew.
Wow, yeah, I'd love to talk to him.
And I don't know. I don't know. Isn't it easy? Isn't it so much easier to have rational discussions about groups when you're not a part of them? That feels like a problem. Right? That feels like a problem. Anyway, Ethan, what's up?
One last thing before we go. Do you remember at the beginning of the show when I was telling you about the procedure I was going to have?
Yeah.
That helps with. Can I drop the link for the website, which has all the information and what the name of the treatment is, or no?
Yeah, give that to me, and I can put it in the show notes because, you've done live shows. The chat takes forever and all that, but we can have that connected to the show notes.
Okay. So I shouldn't put the tiny URL in the chat right now.
You can.
Okay.
Just
for the record, it's called dual sympathetic reset. It helps with PTSD. Never mind. We're out of time.
I don't know anything about it. So anybody who does want to look into it, I suggest you look into it because I can't confirm or deny or validate anything. And even if I did learn about it, I'm still a moron when it comes to most things. So don't listen to me. Ethan, we're going to go hop over to the super chat. We're going to hop over to the live show. If you want to join us, the after show.
The Discord.
This is. What did you do to me, Ethan? We're going to hop over to the Discord for the after show. Come and join us. Link is in the description and also got dropped in the live chat. Ethan, I know it's been a while since you've been on, so I'll tell you, when we end this, we do a little back and forth. So I say, my name is Eric Murphy. You say, my name is Ethan Michael, your friendly neighborhood atheist. I say, this is Skeptic Generation. And you say, we're glad we had this talk. Because that's kind of like the tagline, right? We need to talk, is it? And so we end the episode with, we're glad we had this talk. So let's see if we can wrap this up. Until next time, everybody, I'm Eric Murphy.
I'm Ethan Michael, your friendly neighborhood atheist.
This is Skeptic Generation.
And I'm glad we had this talk.
That was perfect.